Welcome back. We're in Tisbury again in Wiltshire, right down south, away from Scotland, a long way away from Scotland. We're going to get straight into the painting this time. We've been searching for a picture, but the weather's very changeable at the moment, so we want to capture it quickly today because otherwise the scene's going to be completely disappeared. What today's going to be is a cloudscape. I've seen some wonderful clouds here, beautiful clouds right down in England today. One of the difficulties of clouds, especially on a windy day, is they disappear really quickly. They are fleeting moments. So we're going to capture a fleeting cloud scene. We're going to wait for the right clouds, but there were some perfect clouds about 10 minutes ago, but they've completely gone. So we'll wait for the nice clouds to come along and they get straight back into it. We've waited about 20 minutes since the last shot. The clouds that were there have totally disappeared, so we've waited. They became a little bit bland. What I'm looking for is a chevron of blue coming down here like that, and that blueness disappeared. So I wanted this blue streak coming down. I thought that was quite pretty. Right, it's pretty much there. It's going to be difficult to photograph this because the camera's pointing at the paper and not at the sky, so you're not really going to have much reference to it. Every second the clouds are changing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wider view of the clouds, and I'm going to take a bit from over there, a bit to the right and a bit to the left, and hopefully amalgamate them into something interesting. And that's what's quite fun about painting clouds. You don't have to paint the ones right in front of you. You can paint the ones behind you if you like, just to try and get the effect you're looking for. Right, so the drawing I've done was of clouds that was 20 minutes ago. So they're not there now. So let's try and have a go at this. Being bold again, and trying to get the shape of the clouds. So cobalt blue largely, and just try and get the shapes, but trying to be so bold. That's the key to this. Trying to get the feeling of the chevron of blue sky that's dancing down the painting. Right, keep on going. And I'm going to make it quite dark at the top, much darker than normal. So I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue, just to really make it rich, that rich colour. So I'm half making this up. I'm half making the actual colours up and the actual shapes of the clouds. This is a little bit of the imagination. So I'm going to add a bit of Viridian here. I could have squeezed out some cleaner Viridian. It's not really that good at the moment. Okay, so I like the change of colour. The change of colour is so good, and that change to green I think adds quite a lot. And then lighten it. If you remember what I've said about clouds, they tend to they're dark at the top and then they lighten off at the horizon. That's quite pretty. So just using the one brush, my big mop, and trying to create an interesting shapes really. This is, I can feel the rain now. I'm just going to cover it. Has it gone? No, it hasn't gone. It's always fun when you start painting and it rains immediately. I try and cover it as much as possible. One of the interesting parts about rain is you don't necessarily feel it straight away. You're so concentrating on what you're doing. Only a moment later do you actually feel it, and sometimes it's just too late. Still raining. I can feel it on the back of my neck. Right, I've found a bag to cover it, which is quite useful. Sainsbury's don't sponsor me, by the way. Right, so you can see the sort of damage it made to the image. You can see the little spots of rain that's come into it, but it's not too bad, is it? What I'm going to do, just to cover them up a bit, is just to give it a little bit more colour at the top. Add more paint, I think is the cure to that. So really make it very bright. Okay, I think that's all right, isn't it? So add a little bit of colour. Okay, right. Hopefully normal services will resume now. Okay, so let's get the Viridian going again for the bottom layers. Sometimes a little bit of disaster in rain doesn't necessarily destroy the paint, it just turns it into something else, and sometimes these little marks can be quite fun and interesting as well. But overall, I'd probably rather it not happen. Right, now I'm going to change the colours, and I'm going to go into a yellow ochre, a clean yellow ochre, and I'm going to add that as the sort of shadow sides of the clouds. So the light's coming from left to right, so it's coming from here. So I'm going to add cloudy bits. I'm going to put some burnt umber in there as well, just to give it a little bit more drama. So always trying to create interest. That's quite nice, isn't it? So I think what I'm doing when I'm painting is I'm saying to myself, is that nice? Is that pretty? Is that what I'm trying to get across? I can't see these colours in the clouds, but I don't think that matters. I think I'm after the effects more than anything else. I'm after a nice composition. Quite dramatically done. This bit here seems like a bit of a problem, so maybe I'm going to add a dramatic cloud here. So a bit of brown, a bit of blue, think a bit, and then add it here. Trying to create the variety in the picture as well. It's one of my favourite parts, is to add variety and important parts. We're actually at a place called Messham's at the moment in Tisbury, and it's a wonderful art gallery, and they have a wonderful sculpture exhibition going on, and we're in the car park there, so if you hear some gravelly noises, that's the people moving around the car park. Right, okay, so there's a cloudscape. I'm going to change the brush a bit now, and I'm going to have a little bit of a finer brush just to give a different impression. So just to give a sort of shape to these clouds. Now change a bit of colour here, some softer shades. Just slightly kissing the paper a bit, nothing too dramatic. So we had that break, and I'm asking myself, was it the end of the painting? But I think it's rescued. I think it's all right. I like that bit of colour there shining through. That's nice. So I'm definitely going to leave that part. And that's what I want to get across, really, is that I don't have any grandiose sort of plan of technique. A little bit I do, but my plan is to take advantage of what's in front of me and recognise the mistakes that I might make and say, well, that's okay, I can live with that. Right, we're going to go down to the grass now. It's quite burnt grass. They haven't had much rain this year in Tisbury. Although since I've been here, it's been raining quite a lot, so are they telling me the truth or not? I don't know. Right, so this is the fields coming in, and there's some clouds going across the fields as well. So let's pretend that that's the shadow of one of the clouds. It's not there at the moment, but it has been there. That effect of the cloud, and I quite like it. So now it's going to go a bit more green, so I'm going to get a greener shade, so a little bit of viridian and yellow ochre, and I'm going to add this into here and here. Just going to maybe get rid of some of those. Okay. So it's an experiment in noticing when something's gone well, and when something's gone well, you have to recognise that, and if you don't recognise it, then it's difficult to improve, because you have to know when you've done something well, so you don't touch it. Right, we've got this tree here, so I'm going to get another finer brush. Right, we're going to use this brush here, which is a number 6, and we're going to try and paint this tree in. So a little bit of hooker's green and burnt umber. So create a variety of different colours. So I'm trying to leave the blue behind, so I can see it. So I can see the colours behind. Just the light, the sky shining through a little bit. Don't want to stop that. Okay. Now we have some trees in the distance as well, right on the horizon. So that's coming in here. Change the green again. Always want to change the colours. I can never say that enough, really. And you want to create different mixes of green. So that green there, it's a bit wet at the moment, but I might have to leave that for a moment. I just like the different painting's about seeing differences, really. I think that's changes of colour, changes of value. Back to my big brush, and let's see whether we can get the fields in a bit better. A bit of yellow ochre again. Quite light, those fields. Maybe I'll keep them that shade. Make sure I get this. Change the colour to the blue. That's the beam of light going across the field. And maybe the change of colour in the bottom right. Okay, just let that dry for a bit. So I'm going to paint in the road pathway that the tractor's made, and I think that's going to be quite nice, really, because it's going to give it a little bit of a leading in effect. Okay, so here. So into the distance there's the path. That's helped it. It's a nice wind today, so that's going to help me dry the painting off a bit. Let's get some rich, dark. Paint this tree here. Okay, and there's another one of those series of little trees up here. Okay, now into the big tree, and what we have to do now is to try and find those little values. So I'm going to try to the much darker values that are in there. So sort of at the base of the tree here, trying to get those in. But it's got to be quite simple. Can't really. Trees are funny things to paint. They're so intricate, yet you want to somehow simplify it. Trying to get the values in, the darkness in. Okay, and then underneath the tree, got the trunk. Right there. And then its wonderful shadow. which I'm going to paint it in a sort of more vivid blue. Why not? Okay, so I'm going to see the bottom edge. I'm not happy with the bottom edge, so I'm going to soften that. So let's just take that soft edge away a bit. Get the hill in the background. Keep on looking at the painting and see what you can improve. So what I've noticed is that the shadow is greater here, so I'm going to add some deeper values there, just to enrich that part because the light's coming from this way. Okay, so maybe there's been huge flocks of crows flying by. Reminded me of the Van Gogh painting, one of his last ones. So that's pretty much it, really. You could carry on, but you could mess it up. So I might put a few posts in, which would, there are lots of fields here. So maybe a little bit of burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and so there's a sort of line there. In the distance, very, very faint. Those crows are a lovely sound. There's a gate in here as well. That's quite nice. And some fence posts. So a nice sense of perspective, really. So here too. All right, just having a careful look at it. What I might do is add a few sheep now. I think that will give it a sort of nice feel to it. So I'll get some white paint. Right, I'm just going to add a few sheep from here and there. And again, impressionistically done, nothing too complex. Make sure they're a little bit yellow. They are quite a long way in the distance, so you're not really going to see much. And now we're going to add a little bit to the tree. Maybe a few smidgens of light touches. Back into the white. Just a few hints of it. I must experiment. One thing I've been promising myself, which I haven't really done yet, is to experiment more with opaque colours. And I want to get into that. And it's good to have a little target for the future. But I think opaque colours are fascinating. Overlooked, massively overlooked. But I think they're important. And I think that you can get some great effects with them. I don't know whether you think that's quite nice. I think that's quite nice. Let's go for up here a bit as well. It just brings out something, I think. I like it. We've all got to have a little journey on training our own aesthetics to see what we like. One of the great ways of training your aesthetics is our art books. And having a look at an art book and seeing a great painting and asking yourself questions about it. Why is that a great painting? And I thoroughly enjoy doing that. Yeah, so you've got a little bit more variety. I don't know whether you can see a little bit more variety in this area here, which I like. So I'm inspired by that. So what I'm going to try and do is use that in the clouds a bit as well. So there's the white paint mixing. It doesn't have to be thin white paint either. That's quite interesting. Okay, let's. Yep. Let's try and get thick white paint on it. Now, I'm experimenting really at the moment. If it goes well, very good. If it doesn't, better luck next time. Let's get some really thick bits on. I'm very interested in oil painting and trying to work out techniques for oil painting. Maybe that's nice. So I'm telling myself now that it's done and stop fiddling. Okay, I think that's done.
What about some feet on the sheet?
Okay. So just show a little underside, the darkening effect. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. One last thing to do. So I've just had a moment to look at the painting away from the camera, and I think a few pencil marks would really help it out here now. So let's get the pen that's actually going to work, because it is slightly wet still. So my bigger Conte pencil, maybe I think would be the right thing. Conte is good because it will mark on wet paper. So it sort of connects the wire a bit. Not much. I think it's just helped with the line of the hill there a bit. That'll do. Now just to sign it. Hopefully it's dry. Is that dry? Yes, it is dry enough, hopefully. Right. James Potter. Well, the rain started to come down now, and I've had to throw the painting into the car to save it. And it's such a changeable day today, but that's the challenges really of painting watercolour, which I sort of like. Sometimes it's a pain, but sometimes it's quite fun as well. It speeds you up again, and that urgency is what we need. I think urgency is a desperately important part to watercolour painting, to keep on making those decisions, hundreds and hundreds of decisions as quickly as you can. So here's the painting. It's a vertical painting, which I like a vertical painting. I think it's really good for these cloudscapes. It started off with difficulty, with the rain, but I thought I'd just carry on, protect it for a bit. And it did make some marks, but I didn't think it affected the painting really. Perhaps it actually added to the painting. I don't know. The size of this painting is 12 by 8 inches, a slightly bigger size than the paintings I've been doing recently. And I think it helped the painting, it being a little bit bigger. And it helps with the feel of Impressionism, I think. And it makes you a little bit looser, which is a good thing. Again, I'm going to pop this painting into the drawer. So if you're interested, just put a little comment in the comment section, and the details of the painting will be in the description. So until next time, thanks for watching, and good luck with your watercolour painting.